I offer my most humble salutations at the feet of my Lord and Master, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, respected dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Venu Srinivasan, Mr. Rajiv Menon, Mr. Mohan Kameshwaran, Naresh, Rajiv Raman. I know that a lot of dignitaries off the dais. Ravi from the Hindu is here, Sudha is here, many of my walking friends are here. I think Dr. Rai is here. Thank you all for coming here today, and also like to acknowledge the presence of many of my classmates. Meera and many others are there. One or two others have promised that they will be coming. My family, my immediate family and my extended family at Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialty Center. My staff, I never call them as staff, they're all part of my extended family. Members of the press and media. A lot of people are watching. I think it's a very small crowd, but actually a lot of people, including all my staff, more than 1,000 staff, and they're all watching this program simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube as we speak. So this program is actually being watched in many parts of the world. Actually, I know people from many parts of the world are watching this program right now. So my salutations to all of them. A very good evening to all of you and a very big thank you. It means a lot to me that all of you have come today. The word déjà vu was used by Mohan, and since he mentioned they're twins, I'm using the word again, because for me it's actually a déjà vu. When I was very young, 12 years old, probably like Pranav, sitting here, I thought, what would I do when I grow up? And the scene was exactly what is being enacted today. I said one day my book will be released and there will be a book function to which people would come. And of course I published 39 books so far, including the one on Sathya Sai Baba, which is now in 7 languages. It's been reprinted 4 times already, so that's my most popular book. But apart from that, I have 38 other medical books, but none of them are actually released in any function. Sathya Sai Baba book was released at Prashanthi Nilayam, but not in an audience. No book was available in a bookstore. So it is my dream that I'll see my book at an airport store or something. All that came true today. So I think the clock has actually gone a full circle today, and that's why I'm very grateful to Bhagwan Baba for making this come true, and to Rama. I always, it's true what Rajiv Menon said, that very often in my life, it's a 10th anniversary, I'll come back to that. Very often both of them have come back to me. It's very difficult for you to believe it as a non-believer, but their constant presence has been there for the last 10 years for me. A few words about the chief guests who are here and why they are here today. Venu, I knew not as the chairman of one of India's largest, most well-known brands. TVS is a brand which is synonymous with India. Anyone you talk about TVS and you know. But my connection with him was not through that. It was through Sai Baba and Sathya Sai. And if Baba were to pick 10 of his most favorite devotees, I'm sure like Abu Ben Adam, Venu's name will be right there on top, because that was the closeness which he had with Baba. Everything in his life, every second sentence that he speaks, he only speaks about Baba. There's nothing he takes as his own credit, and that's a great quality I learned from him, that humility, despite all that he did. But even more than that is the seva that he does. Anju mentioned it briefly, but if you think about one person in the current time who has done so much for renovation of temples, it is Venu Srinivasan. If you just see the Srirangam temple, how it was and how it is now, that's just one of many, many temples. He just takes an old temple which is completely dilapidated and then completely turns it around. You should just see the pictures before and after. And it's amazing. Not only that, in his villages that he has adopted, he just doesn't provide charity to people. What he does is vocational training. So the youth there are actually transformed. So a silent revolution is going on through Venu Srinivasan. And so this is something which from far I see and then I admire. I wish there were more Venu Srinivasans in the world. Thank you, Venu, for your presence today. Rajiv Menon, I don't know him, as he said we go around in circles, and I didn't know I do this when I do that. I must try to correct. The other day, Narayanan was telling me, please stand up straight when you walk. So I tend to crouch a little bit. So I don't know him as much as a director and cinematographer. I'm not much into films. In fact, I'm embarrassed when my classmates talk about films or actors and say, who's this guy? I'll ask. Sometimes the patient will come and they'll say, I'm so-and-so's father. And after he goes, say, who's that guy whom he said he's a father of? I don't know that guy itself. He's trying to introduce himself by saying some famous actor's name. I don't even know the actor's name. So that's how far I am from films. But having said that, I have seen some of his films and they are really, really outstanding, no doubt about it. But what I know him as very well as a walking encyclopedia. There's only one other person who can probably compete with him, and I wish he was here, my son-in-law Ranjit. But he had been urgently to go away on another assignment and he is in Kerala, so he had to miss this function. But he and Rajiv Menon, I think, should put them both together in one room for 3-4 hours together and see who has the last word. You know, it will be a good debate. You put them both together. But every one of those rounds, when I walk in the Madras labs about 500 meters, I would have learned so much more. And I think I would have learned more than I would have read in a week in any newspaper or in a magazine. That's the amount of knowledge he has. He comes across being extremely simple and humorous and so on, but his knowledge on matters is really, really deep. So, and he's extremely busy, as you can imagine. And so, thank you, Rajiv, for coming here today. It means a lot. And you made a complete postmortem of reminded of my anatomy days when you really literally dissected my book from cover to cover. And it really shows that you've read my book. Mohan, I don't want to talk much about because he has already mentioned he is my twin. And when we are twins, we do everything the same way. Even our institutions are named similarly. It's not by may not be by accident. My research center is called Madras Diabetes Research Foundation. Replace the diabetes ENT and his center is called Madras ENT Research Foundation. So there's only an MDRF and MERF. In every way, we were in England together, we were in college together, we came back together, we started practicing together, and in every way, and it's not just now, it's in 3 generations. His father was my father's classmate, his mother was my teacher, she was my PhD guide. So, and then his the son and my daughter were in the same batch. So for 3 generations, the family has been very, very, very close. I can't think of a closer friend than Mohan. And Indra's in the audience. I can proudly say that their work, much was told by Anju about his ability to do the cochlear implants. But I have seen some of the dramatic instances where a child who is completely deaf from birth, then comes Mohan and does his surgery, and for the first time a child can hear. Can you imagine? Somebody who is completely deaf now able to hear. You should see that scene, what it means to that child and to that family. So that's the kind of magic that Mohan does. And more than 50% of all that he does free. He doesn't even do it to make money. So that's a miracle, really a miracle which he does. So thank you, Mohan, for being here with us. Naresh is the genius of our class. Mohan referred to our batch as being the outstanding batch. 1971 batch was the outstanding batch. In our 175th year of MMC, we voted the best batch. So you can imagine how good the batch was. The 3 Padma Shris, 3 BC Roy Award, 1 Vice Chancellor, 40 professors, and so on. The list is numerous. No batch could even come anywhere near us. And in that batch, he is a genius. Okay. And I'll tell you one example of why I call him a genius among them. It is a true story, by the way. So I wanted to write a medicine prize in many of the prizes I didn't get. One of the physiology one. Another one I didn't get was medicine. That is due to Naresh. So what happened was that I wanted to go to Stanley to write this medicine prize. So nobody will come with me. How can I go alone from MMC? So I told Mohan, come on, let's go. Yeah, you come. He said, I'm not doing medicine. Yeah, how can I come and write the prize again? I said, no, you have to come. On the way, we're on the way to the medical to Stanley. He said, we'll go and call Naresh and go. He said, Naresh, both of us will do. No, then why? No, we'll go and call Naresh also. Go to the hostel. Naresh is fast asleep. Hey, I'm not coming. He's not even brushed his teeth. He's laying there. And then we go and shake him and say, Naresh, vada. We also must come for the prize exam. So we pull him and go, and then he gets a prize. I say, I haven't got the prize. So that's Naresh. He doesn't even have to read. Just once he looks at something, he knows. And of course, you've heard about his genius with the surgery, the kind of surgeries that he does on newborn children. Very few people do that. People just stick to what they know, and surgery where they're very confident. He takes up the impossible cases because he was trained by maybe Yaqub, one of the world's greatest surgeons in UK. So Naresh, and one thing with relation to this book, I wrote this book. I had all these quotes at the top of every chapter. There's a quote, and Penguin is a very difficult group to work with. They are so fastidious about everything. So one day the book is about to go, and then they say, no, you have made some quotes there. Give us from where you got that quote. I said, I Googled. Obviously, you look for a quote, what will you do? This you will Google and find it. No, Google is not accepted. You must find the original quote. When that guy or that lady said it, and you must give us the proof for it. I said, come on, I can't do it now. There are so many chapters. Each chapter, this thing is there. I tried Googling and all, I couldn't get anything. Then I said, no, the one genius is there in my class, He will just give him anything, he'll do it just like that. So I called Naresh and said, Naresh, I need your help. Can you find all these quotes for me? Because when in a WhatsApp group, if we say something, in like 4 seconds, Naresh will come up with a GIF for it, So we asked him, how do you do it? And he said, you add one T to it, and that's what, it's a gift, So that's how I do my GIFs, he said. So I gave this job to him and said, you do this for me. Promptly enough, within 4 or 5 days, he had found every single quote. And some of those quotes have been told by about 100 people. First Albert Einstein said that, before that somebody said it, before that 50 years before that somebody said it before. So each one, he can write a thesis on that quote, and he sends the whole thing to me. And I said, Naresh, only you can do this, And but for him, this book would not have come out at all. So they said, no, till you find where that quote is, we are not going to accept it, So he helped me out there. Rajiv Raman mentioned about the research. Then he is, an extraordinary person. Normally we think surgeons don't do research. But he does as much research as we physicians do. I don't know how he does it, where he finds the time for it. Something extraordinary, He's already 300, 400 papers plus, and all high class papers. His epidemiological studies are outstanding, world class. And now we have formed a group. Dr. Raji is here in the audience. So we are with Sankara Nethralaya and with Arvind Eye Hospital and us, and with the Moorfields Eye Hospital in London, we have formed a group now. So continuously we are able to make those. So thank you, Rajiv, for being here. It means a lot to us. Before I finish, I want to just say a few things. First thing is, I would like to acknowledge 4 people without whom it is not complete. I've already talked about my spiritual master, Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba. My parents, my father. I don't think if on that evening he had not called me and kind of literally persuaded me to take up medicine, I would have made it. I would have probably been releasing different types of books by now. So my thanks to him, and to my mother, who gave birth to me and been my support all along. But I think the second half of my life, it was Raman, who from the time I left my father with just a stethoscope, I had no money at all. When I left my father, it was almost zero bank balance and nothing. So from there we had to start, and she said, we can do it, Mohan. It's there in the book. And so she has been my backbone and pillar. And when I lost her 10 years ago, and I'll come back to that when I finish, it was a big blow, because we really didn't know how this institution itself will survive, because she was running the whole institution. Luckily at that point entered Anju, and thanks to God's grace, she got 2-3 years to mentor her, and also her sister Rekha, who was here. And so it was with that it went. And of course Ranjit, I cannot do anything without him. I told you, he's another walking encyclopedia. Anything that Ranjit says, next day I'll impress my walking friends by going and telling them that. Over dinner he would have told me something. Next morning I'll go and impress my walking friends. And of course Pranav is following in his footsteps, and they mean the world to me. But also my brothers Vijay and Arun, my sisters Shobana and Indra, and my brother-in-law Ramchandran. He is a great collaborator for many, many, many years, and it's together that we built that. I already mentioned Rekha and Rama's parents. You won't believe it, at one time when I left my father, I didn't have money to pay rent for any house that we go to. So I literally had no money at all, zero. In fact, Ravi, you will be interested that at that time I wrote 20 articles for the Hindu and got paid for each one of them. That was one of my source of income. Every month I would get one article in, and for every article you are paying. So I went on, oh, they are paying, let's keep on writing, keep on writing. So I wrote a series of articles, and Hindu was paying me. for some of the things that I did. It was that desperate. At that time when my father-in-law told me, you come and stay with us. I said, I don't have money to give you. And he said, you stay free. I'm not going to charge you. For the next 10, 15 years, I stayed free in their home. And that's when we moved to Boat Club. Eventually bought it and called them to come. And they stayed with us till their end. So it was tough times which we have gone through. My old staff at Roypuram and my staff, I can't even call them staff here. This is my family. Big thank you. I don't know what to say except to say thank you. Why this book? Because it's not about diabetes and so on. We already mentioned that, ethics, empathy and spirituality are going down very badly. I'm not afraid to say that in our profession. It's not because medicine has gone bad, because it's become a totally commercial thing now, that we have lost the respect that the profession had in the early years, in my father's days or Mohan's father's days and so on. The respect that medicine had is not there anymore, and that's because of how people have changed. So I thought a little bit about ethics and empathy and spirituality, how it can still be combined with medicine. With all the success that you do, you can still do that. And the other thing is to combine the science and art of medicine. Science of medicine is completely different. Do you take your vaccine shot after 4 weeks or 8 weeks? That's the science of it. But the way you tell it to the person is the art of it. So you have to combine both. There's no point in doing one without the other. And then the word corporate has become a totally, like a bad word. Corporate means, like a bad word it is. Why can't you combine corporate with compassion and others see? If you combine both together, even corporate is not bad. You can have compassion even within a corporate world. And then it's all about human achievement. I've always been impressed with human achievement. When Roger Banting broke that 4-minute barrier, human beings, they said, cannot break that barrier. And then Roger Bannister broke it. Today, where 4 minutes is and where human beings have gone, it's only a limit you set for yourself. There is no limit at all. Even the sky is not the limit. This I have been convinced from the beginning. And you should never set a limit for yourself. So that limit, to keep on raising the bar. I tried to do that out, try to bring that out in my book. I hope I've succeeded. And also people keep asking me, how did you succeed? Tell us the secrets. I think there are at least 3 or 4. One is focusing on a problem. Second is the passion, because you don't have the passion, you're just not going to succeed. Third is resilience. Because whatever you fall, you should be able to get up. The more number of times you fall, one more number of times you should be able to get up. If you're able to do that, then you will succeed. And finally, of course, hard work. Somebody wrote to me recently and said, you mentioned hard work in your book. I think it's smart work, not hard work. I said, to me, it's all the same. To work very smartly, you have to even work harder to know what is smart work. And of course, delegation is also very important. You must trust your people. I'm not very good at it, but trying to become better at it. It's because our people are actually much better than us. So if you're able to delegate things, you can get a million things done. If you think everything you have to do yourself, nothing will get done. Finally, I'm going to end with why this book is so special, being released in 2021. 2021 is the 100th year of insulin. Banting and Best's name keeps coming at least 3 or 4 times in the book. From my childhood, they were my heroes. In fact, now I'm doing more research on Banting and Best because it's a 100th year of insulin. I'm reading books. I've seen a 3-hour movie and I'm reading more and more. I've got all the details from Toronto and I'm sitting and reading all about Banting. He's a peculiar guy. I'm not going to talk about him. But it's a 100th year of the discovery. And the saga of that itself is, many movies can be made out of that. The insulin saga, the Nobel Prize controversy, it's one of the biggest controversies. But the 100th year of insulin is very important because if a child with type 1 diabetes is born 1920 or 1919, that child lived for 2 to 3 months. 1 year was almost impossible. Beyond 1 year was never recorded in history. Today they can live for 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. That change which happened has to be celebrated. And that's why I want to write a nice article on that in the Hindu and other papers, because I think it's a very important thing and people have not realized how important it is. The Nobel Prize was awarded within 1 year. Again, it's history that within 1 year the Nobel Prize was awarded. But that's one of the most significant events in medicine, that the discovery of insulin. This is the 100th year of that. The second is the 50th year of our joining medicine. So exactly halfway through that. But it's also 75th year of my father taking up diabetes. He was the first to start diabetes formally in this country 75 years ago. So that's another landmark. It's the 30th year of this hospital. We started this in 1991, so it's the 30th year. It's the 25th year of the Research Foundation, 1996. It's the 25th year of my father's passing. In fact, it was just yesterday was the day of his passing. There's a photograph yesterday in the papers, 1st March 1996, so it's his 25th year. It's also the 10th year of the Mahasamadhi of Baba, and 30 days before that I lost Rama, so it's also 10th year of her passing away as well. So it's a historic year for me. 2021 is a very important year, and in that year this dream has come true. I'd finally like to dedicate this book. I didn't write any dedication in the book. If you see, I didn't dedicate it to anyone. I didn't know who to dedicate it to. But today I would like to dedicate it to my patients, because I think they are the ones who believed in me when nobody else believed. When I left Royapuram, nobody believed in me. The investors didn't believe. Nobody believed. Nobody would give me money. But my patients said, "We are there with you, doctor. We are there with you. We believe you. We trust you." Some of them wrote checks which I wouldn't even have thought that they will do. Finally, I just want to end by saying that this book, just to give you a brief about what has happened, the book was actually released in the stores on 22nd of 24th, I think, of February. That is when it went to all the bookstores. About 2 weeks before that, it was, no, I think in January it was made available for pre-order in Amazon. So I asked Penguin how many copies, if pre-order they buy, it will be considered a success. They said normally 10-20 copies go. If 100 copies go, it will be considered as a bestseller. It's crossed 10,000 copies already as pre-order itself, and I believe several more thousand have already been ordered. They normally print only 5,000. Already double of that has gone in the first, and it's been in the bookstore only for 1 week now. So I'm really overwhelmed by the response that we have got to this book, and it seems to have touched a few people. So I think my final dream of becoming an author is coming true. I'm already planning my second book, not an autobiography. There's a lot of things to write about, so I'm planning to write my second and third books hopefully this year, and probably spend the rest of my life writing a few more books, God willing. Thank you very much for coming, and God bless you all.